Okay, so a little bit about the background to this debate. No doubt those of you that follow the IT and also the education press cannot have missed the discussion that's been ongoing now for a number of years about the state of IT and computing science education in schools. I won't go into great depth about that, other than to say there's a fantastic article in the latest issue of IT Now, in the BCS Chartered Institute for IT, written by one of our debaters this evening, Dr. Bill Mitchell, Director of BCS Academy, and that will give you some of the context to what's happened over the last couple of years and the great leaps forward that we've made with the assistance of industry, the support of education, and the involvement of BCS and many other bodies in really transforming the state of IT education in school. But much work will be done on that. But of course, tonight is really looking beyond the computing science and IT issues in schools towards academia. So here's the reason that our motion is really squarely aimed at the disconnect that may be perceived between academic education and the needs of the IT profession. Okay, I also need to make mention of our debaters this evening, and also the volunteers. So I'm not going to, for the interest of time, list absolutely everyone, but if I can just briefly introduce the debaters. We have Dr. David Bowers from the Open University. We have Dr. Bill Mitchell, Director of BCS Academy. We have David Edwards, BCS Membership Director, and Professor Kevin Jones, who's the Dean of Computing at City University. Got that correct? Heading Computer Science. And also with that in mind, the views and opinions expressed by debaters this evening do not necessarily represent those of the organisations they work for. So they are representing, as much as anything else, the defence and the opposition, not necessarily their own personal views. Okay, so I now need to move on to handing over to we have a guest speaker to introduce this evening. This particular young gentleman joins us from a school in Morris, St John's Academy, is it? Yes. And Colin Ford is an award-winning debater. He's also the son of two IT professionals. And I understand you can do the Rubik's Cube in 30 seconds or so?
On a good day.
Yes. So Colin is going to kick off this evening's debate. The reason we've invited Colin here this evening is to remind us all that this debate is about the future of the next generation. It's not about what we experience in university or in the IT profession. It's about the differences that we can make to help the next generation in achieving their goals and aspirations within the IT profession. So, without further ado, I think I shall hand over to Colin and take a seat.
And thank you to our Master of Ceremonies. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At the age of 11, my English teacher, Mr. Charles Todd, refused me access to the USB slot on his computer, as someone told him that I could possibly transfer a malicious virus onto the school network, intent on destroying all of the data present. I simply wanted to give him my homework on Stig of the Dump. When I moved school to the fantastic local state secondary, the schism of technological capacity between teachers and students became even more evident. The biggest, baddest girls in school were able to log you out of your account in 2 quick maneuvers, Control-Alt-Delete, then return, whilst the teachers left something lacking. I was able to lead some of the classes in my Year 9 education on programming or the use of Adobe Flash, whilst the teachers simply looked puzzled, they themselves unable to use the lookup formula in Excel. I had no doubt that on that trajectory, in 5 years' time, students would be jailbreaking and locking up each other's tablets in school, while the teacher would be taking a course as students on Objective-C run by the students themselves. This is only half the story. Now my computing teacher, Mr. Fraser, is currently developing a web-based application to track all of his class's progresses in a responsive web form that, of course, resizes perfectly for his departmental iPad mini. Furthermore, Dr. Spencer here has informed me that only last week was she showing her tutees features on their iPhones that she could use, and they did not know how to. Meanwhile, my computing class is learning how to use recursion and searching and sorting algorithms, giving us the skills and confidence for the future that will allow us to work quickly and effectively for our future employers, perhaps by writing a script that will turn daily hassle into a single click. That is, of course, assuming that local security systems don't choke employee innovation. It is just a shame that my computing class consists of me, my Bulgarian friend Hristian, and my Game of Thrones addict friend Jamie. Across the whole of our sixth form, computing students number no more than 20. Nationally, computing and ICT entrants made up only 1.7% of all A-levels sat in 2012, a significant fall from the previous year. Meanwhile, numbers are soaring in subjects that shy away from the keyboard and mouse. My girlfriend gave up her IT lessons as soon as she could, and only last week was asking why the hell she needed to know how to program in Scratch. I wonder whether she would prefer the redesigned syllabus of Mr. Fraser, now based around a Python shell hosted online and used by the students and tracked by Mr. Fraser himself, also online. An online Python shell. Eat that, Raspberry Pi. And so disparity seems to be a common theme of technology in primary and secondary education, be it disparity between the capabilities of the student and the teacher, or disparities between the potential power and use of a sufficient education in technology and the potential number of students enrolling in a course. But it is surely imperative that the citizens of the future can thrive on the internet and in the workplace to develop our civilization. This does happen already. Notable examples, of course, including the use of Twitter in the Arab Spring, the influence of WikiLeaks in the Pirate Bay, and smaller stories, like the development of a news aggregator by 17-year-old Nick Delosio, which has now been acquired for Yahoo for £17 million. On the flip side, we must consider the potential for technology to do evil. Cyberbullying through services such as AskFM being the most frequently drawn out example by the pseudo-tech-savvy teachers at my school. More generally, the problem of social media in a world without enough critical literacy. Also, the issue of tech folk to use any moral compass. Witness, for example, the Mexican cartel videos on Facebook, or the instant TV coverage of the Woolwich killing without any apparent thought to the effect of seeing a son's blood on his killer's hands within mere moments of it happening. If we seek to empower the world to use technology to do amazing things, then we must make it accessible. We must make it applicable. We must make it inspirational, but we must also make it ethical. My experiences are unique, but they most definitely echo and resonate with experiences of those of a similar age to me, those who will inherit the IT profession. I know that I have only perhaps vaguely hinted at the needs of the profession in relation to what is provided by the education system, but the fine gentlemen in front of you today are tasked with getting to the bottom of this issue in that context. Before I hand over to the chair of the debate this evening, I'd like to finish with some words from the master song of the Broders Guild, which I feel reflect why we're here this evening. Oh, give us your plain dealing fellows, who never from honesty shrink, not thinking of all that they shall tell us, but telling us all that they shall think. Without any further ado, I hand over to the chair of tonight's debate, Dr. Leslie Spencer.
Good evening, and let me extend my welcome to you as well. My job is relatively simple tonight. I have to keep these four gentlemen in line. Let's see how we do. The way this will work is that we'll have a proposition or a proposing team supporting the motion, and an opposing team. Each one gets to speak a number of times. We'll have one speaker from the supporting team speak for 8 minutes, and to help them with their timekeeping, and to help with giving the opposition a chance to interject questions and points of information, I'll do the following things. After about a minute, I'll just bang on the table, or I might hire someone to bang, and at that point in time, gentlemen from the opposing team can interrupt through me, asking for a question, limited to about 2 or 3. Carry on. At the end of about at the end of the 7th minute, you'll hear another knock. Gives you about a minute to wrap up. If you go on much longer, about 8 minutes and 30 seconds, I'll harump at you and we'll carry on. It gets a little nasty. After the supporting team does their motion, the opposing team starts with their motion, supporting team furthers their case, opposing team furthers their case. You all get to ask questions. Hopefully, the quicker we do this, the more questions you can ask. And as been asked, please do tell us your affiliation, your name, etc. Then one member of the opposing team will sum up, explain why they think that their position is the right position, and then finally one member from the supporting team will sum up and say why they think they have won the debate. Just in terms of where we're at before we start this evening, we all know what the title of the debate is. This House believes that academic education will never meet the skill needs of the IT profession. All sorts of issues in there. There was an online poll, and it was about 60-40 in favor of the motion, so that academic education never will be able to meet the needs of the IT profession. You were given a little chit to turn in for your lovely glass of champagne before we started tonight. Closer than that. 32 oppose the motion, think that we can meet these needs. 37 support the motion. We'll give you a chance to vote again at the end of the evening, and Connor, we're going to have to do some quick counting, and then we'll see how we do. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome our first speaker to the floor. Thank you very much.